I'm comedian Jerry Rocha, and I'm fighting stage 4 cancer. Chemotherapy, radiation, surgeries surprisingly have not been fun. What has been fun, what's helped me stay in this, keep my joy, is surrounding myself with the people I love and the things that I love. Still embracing that giant nerd inside of me who would get excited every time he'd see a new Transformers figure, a new Legend of Zelda game, a new Weird Al Yankovic record. Wondering what would happen if Dr. Fate and Wolverine would ever team up. Actually, I've covered that last one quite a bit. Enough of this, old boy. We're better as friends. You know what, bub? You're right. I never want to lose that fun. There are all kinds of cool things out there, so as I search for them and find new friends and see what they geek out over, I'd love it if you would join me on
Roaches. Epic. Quest.
Toys R Us. I still can't believe it's gone. That was very much my happy place. So much so that it's still kind of hard to talk about it going away. If I fucked with the big 4-0, I'm tipping one right now to Toys R Us. Toys R Us was the epicenter of fun when I was a kid. Well, you know, that and my older cousin teaching me how to open up a butterfly knife, but I never really got to see him that much, so Toys R Us was it. Okay, fine. Miniature golf and toss in a smidge of Cinemax After Dark when we get to the preteen years. But really, Toys R Us. And when I was a kid, the peak was getting to buy a brand new video game. Of course, I needed to have good grades and mom needed to have won at bingo. Those conditions needed to have been met, but if they were, woo, poo nanny be still. I remember I would run to the Nintendo section, I would pick up the ticket of whatever game I was hoping to get that they had in stock, I would take that ticket to that little front booth area that they had, where they kept the video games, and that booth looked a lot more like a pawn shop that had been robbed several times than an actual Toys R Us. I'm surprised the person working behind the video game booth wasn't brandishing a shotgun and reading a porno mag the entire time. Anyway, I'd hand them the ticket, they'd hand me the game, and it was bliss. I loved it every time. Even if it was that sorry-ass Predator game for the original Nintendo, I didn't care. As an adult, especially as an adult, anytime I was in an awful mood, I would just go to Toys R Us, walk around, and I would start to feel better. Walking up and down those aisles, looking at all the shit that I wanted, especially during a weekday afternoon, so I could beat any punk-ass kid trying to get the same toy I was eyeballing. Any anxiety, any angst, any sadness I was feeling just evaporated. I lost out on a gig. Fuck it, I'm gonna go to Toys R Us. I got cheated on. Fuck it, I'm gonna go to Toys R Us. I found out that the guy who I thought was my biological father was in fact not my biological father. Fuck it, I'm going to Toys R Us. Toys R Us was all I needed to get me through. I miss Toys R Us so much. I miss toy stores so much. Even the minor leagues like KB. I wonder if I could trace Toys R Us closing to me getting stage 4 cancer. I bet the dates would add up. And browsing on Amazon ain't no fucking happy place. So for the longest time, I just accepted that I was never gonna find anything like Toys R Us ever again.
But in Wilmington, California, of all places, I found one. Now, Wilmington, California, it's kind of one of those towns that puts the blue in blue collar. It kind of puts the collar in getting arrested. It also puts the yes, several people have been murdered here in a Zillow listing. And it probably also puts a lot of chemicals in the air that shouldn't be in there. At first glance, you'd think Wilmington, California only exists so bank robbers can plot their next heist. Probably also a really good place to hide a dead body. Actually, why do you even have to hide it? You could probably just leave it out in the open. I bet no one would notice for at least a week or two. Almost every business in Wilmington here screams, why go all the way to Mexico? You want half-price Viagra? You want half-price Ozempic? Come to us. You want shoddy dental work? Come to us. Look behind me. I think that's where the Joker got his surgery in that Tim Burton Batman movie. Even the Mathnasium here in Wilmington sells Oxycontin on the side. Actually, maybe they just teach your kid math on the side, and it's really an Oxycontin place. I'm not sure if Wilmington has a sister city, but if it does, how could it not be Mos Eisley? Look, I break balls, but there is plenty of charm to be found here in Wilmington. I actually enjoy being in Wilmington, California. It gives me some nostalgia because it reminds reminds me of growing up in Laredo, Texas, and having my grandmother take me up and down downtown Laredo, and she'd always buy me some bootleg toy that had Spider-Man's head, Superman's body, the Silver Surfer's dick. Yeah, the bootleg toys had dongs on them. You don't want to know what the pro wrestling figures came with. There is a lot of cool shit in Wilmington. So this is the Banner House, I guess, where Bruce Banner was born. That's pretty cool.
Banning.
Banning?
The Banning House.
Who the fuck's Phineas Banning? Why is his house a museum? I mean, unless he broke Wilt's number inside that house, why does anyone give a shit? Here we have the Drum Barracks Civil War. Get the fuck out. There's no Civil War shit that happened in Southern California. This is horse shit. Maybe it was like some beef that Snoop had with another Long Beach rapper, and this is where they fought? Right here we have the world's first Wiener Schnitzel. And I'm sure not too far from here is probably the house of the first person who died from a heart attack from eating too much of the world's first Wiener Schnitzel. There's peacocks in this motherfucker. But the main reason to come to Wilmington, California, really the only reason to come to Wilmington, California, is right here. Toys versus Games. I found out about Toys versus Games at a retro swap meet. The owner, Tony, had a booth. He had some amiibo I was looking for, so we started making small talk. And I said, well, is this all you do? Do you just go to swap meets? He goes, no. I have a store called Toys versus Games in Wilmington, California. So I loved the name of it. And a few days later, there I was driving down to Wilmington to see Toys versus Games for myself. And you can tell from the paint job on the door, this will not disappoint. Now, I have no idea what Sir Edmund Hillary was feeling when he finally scaled Mount Everest, but it was probably a fraction of what I felt walking into this place for the first time. I felt like I had been taken to the holiest temple in existence. If the bar rescue guy turned every one of those dumps into this place, I'd become an alcoholic. It's incredible that such a small place can hold so many kick-ass things. This is like if that store in the Stephen King book Needful Things was not run by a demon and was real. And sometimes I just come in here to walk around. It gives me the same euphoric feeling I had walking around the Transformer aisles at Toys R Us. I know it seems absurd, but visiting a place like Toys versus Games is like taking my soul to Disneyland, and I'm getting a fast pass to every ride. If I could, I might come here every day and just meditate holding a different Ninja Turtle figure. Toys R Us sadly may be gone, but the dream of it is still alive thanks to places like this. Every single time I've come into this store, I've found something to salivate over. Thankfully, Tony's been cool about this, but he should probably really put some drool buckets next to every display. It's like my wish to have a Royal Rumble with every single figure in this store. I don't need this. I don't even want it. I'm gonna buy it. I don't think it's possible to be in a bad mood when you're in Toys versus Games. All right, maybe a little. There's always something cool in every cabinet, even the Genesis cabinet, and I was a Nintendo guy. I'm getting that Shinobi game. Toys versus Games even does trade-ins. If there's something you don't want anymore, you want to get some new stuff, bring it in here. Except that guy. He's got plenty of that guy. Let's find out a little bit more about Toys versus Games. Now, Tony, the owner of Toys versus Games, was a little camera shy. So instead of forcing him to be on camera, we think we found a suitable Tony to take his place. Obviously, you were a collector yourself. Did this start with you just wanting to sell off some of your collection that you had extras of?
Well, yeah. Well, how it started is that I got let go from my job, so not knowing what to do, and I was always in sales. That kind of led me into this. You know what's crazy? People thought I was selling drugs here.
Wait, they thought this was a front for drugs?
Look, it don't look like nothing.
People thought you were selling drugs.
Yeah, they thought it was like a front for something else.
No, it's a front for something that brings more joy than drugs. That's what it is. How cool is it every day seeing somebody walk in here and nostalgia hits them? They're like, oh my God, I used to have that.
Bring memories. I mean, what I like is that sometimes when they see stuff like this, it throws them back to a time when, like, maybe they were younger, other people were around that they're no longer around. So to me, that's a good feeling to me, that it gets to throw them back into those places.
Do you have a tough time just keeping the cool and rare stuff that comes in for yourself?
In the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I did, but eventually it was like I thought it was unfair that I have to make sure that you guys get it first.
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice.
The only way I trick myself not to say I'm keeping something is like if it's like, say if something like is cool that I have to have it twice in the store at the same time in order for me to even try to keep it. But knowing how hard that is, things go, you know. So the fact that I'm here every day, I try to have fun with it. Like now it's like I like to make sure that it's for you guys first before it is for me.
I love it.
To me, that makes it even better that you guys get to enjoy it. I'm here every day. I'm thinking eventually it's gonna come in again.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It gets me believing that it's gonna come back around.
Toys versus games. It's the showdown where the only winner is you.
I'm so happy that I found Toys versus Games. Right when I thought that Toys R Us high was gone for good, there she is. Every single time I go into Toys versus Games, it's a blast. And yeah, I always seem to come away with something. I want to thank my brother Eddie Pence for helping me shoot this. Obviously, I want to thank Tony and his family for letting us into Toys versus Games, letting us film there, letting us show you what an awesome place it is. And I want to thank you for tuning into Rocha's Epic Quest. I hope you had a great time. Like, subscribe, come back early and often. And what's your Toys versus Games? Let me know in the comments. I would love to check that place out. Have a great one. And if you're fighting cancer like I am, whatever you're fighting, just know, keep swinging. You're still in the fight and you're never alone. We'll see you next time.